Okay, so today we find ourselves in Paris, France. Undoubtedly my most favorite city in the world. I have been to Paris. I've been fortunate enough to be to Paris many, many times. I've been there in the spring, in the summer, in the winter, and in the fall. And I can honestly tell you that the city just is magnificent any time of the year. Paris in the springtime in particular, when all the trees are starting to blossom, it's a city that, I mean, even just to walk along the river, to walk along the Seine, to the many, many landmarks, Notre Dame, Eiffel Tower, everything. But I always find that each time I go to Paris, I try to stay in a different neighborhood and actually learn to discover. Some of my favorite places are, the last time actually I stayed in a little apartment on the Rue du Bac, which is an absolutely spectacular neighborhood. My other probably perhaps favorite is the Marais, where there's just so much to do. But you know, it's just a city that it offers so much. The food itself is fabulous, the art galleries, shopping, just for me, just walking even across the bridges, the people watching, the sort of odds and sods people that you see from all over the world. Do yourself a favor at some point in your life and make sure that you do at some point go to Paris. Today at the Saucy Apron, along with a really nice bottle of a Côte du Rhône. Actually, I was fortunate enough to spend a lot of time in Provence in the Vaucluse with friends the past few years. But we are in Paris today, so we're going to prepare a very, very traditional Coq Au Vin, which basically is like an old rooster and wine. Just doing some plain Haricots Vert and just a little bit of a cheese platter to end the evening. With that, I bid you adieu and salut. Today we're going to visit France, which I have to tell you is probably my most favorite country in the world. Probably not something I should say with all the other things we're doing, but I've been very fortunate to spend a lot of time in France over the course of the last few years. Met some incredibly wonderful people and thoroughly, thoroughly enjoyed my time there. So today actually we're going to prepare a Coq Au Vin, which basically is an old rooster in red wine. Some Haricots Vert, which is green beans, and then just finish off with a little bit of a fromage tray. So we're going to start immediately with the Coq Au Vin. So we're going to start with a little bit of what the French call lardon, or in English we would say bacon. So we just need to brown this slightly. What I'm going to do is move the bacon out, drain it off a little bit. We're going to just lightly brown this chicken. Stand back a bit when it first gets in there because there is wine on the chicken. So these are the chicken thighs that actually have been marinating overnight in some red wine with some fresh rosemary and fresh thyme. Ooh, got myself actually. We want to just sear these off a little bit. I think we've browned our chicken enough. We're going to put it over here. And then we are going to actually add our mushrooms. Some people add tomatoes and things like that. I'm not convinced that I really like the tomato aspect of it, but we're going to take our chicken out. Then what we're going to do is add, actually we're going to add the onions and the garlic, but you can use shallots as well. It doesn't make any difference really, however you want to do it. Just want to saute that up a little bit. We've drained most of the oil out of here. And let's put some mushrooms in. You just want to spread this around, mix it around for probably about 5 or 10 minutes, just till you get the mushrooms to soften a little bit. Absorb all the beautiful, well, actually chicken fat probably. But anyway, stuff coming off the chicken and everything like that. So I'm going to thicken it a little bit with some wine and some flour and some butter before we pop it in the oven and to finish the Coq Au Vin off in the oven. Some people do it differently. You know what? All of a sudden, I've just felt inspired. I'm going to put the chicken back in. We're going to pop it in a 375 oven for about 30 minutes, just to make sure that the chicken is cooked through, with the bacon as well and the mushrooms. And then we're going to bring it out and we're going to add a little bit of wine. Actually, I'm going to add just a little bit of wine to it. But we're going to bring it out. Depending on how it thickens up, we're going to add a little bit of, this is the wine actually that the chicken marinated in. I'm going to drop all these beautiful juices coming out of this tray here. I'm going to put the bacon back in. I'm going to pop it in the oven for about 30 minutes. Then we're going to take it out, depending on how it thickens. If not, we're going to put a little bit of butter and a little bit of flour in, just to thicken up the sauce a little bit with the chicken. We're going to pop this in a 375 oven for about 30 minutes. So, I think we're just about ready to take the Coq Au Vin out of the oven. I think that it should be thick enough. If not, I'm still going to add a little bit of butter to it. Some people add some flour to sort of thicken the sauce up a bit. I'm not really sure that we need to, but anyways, let's get it out of the oven. Oh my God, that looks just perfect actually, the way it is. So anyways, today we're going to end our little journey in France with a Coq Au Vin, which is absolutely delicious. A little bit of des Haricots Vert. I actually put a little bit of butter and garlic on that. And for dessert, because the French very seldom ever have a sweet after meal, a little bit of some brie, some beautiful roquefort, and some apple slices to go with it. So pretty. Have a beautiful, beautiful glass of wine and enjoy your dinner. Thank you so much for journeying with us to France. For all the ingredients to any of my shows, please go to my website, www.thesaucyapron-taiwanon.com. Thank you.
Every time I look down on this timeless town, whether blue or gray the skies, whether loud we had cheers or whether soft we had tears, more and more do I realize. I love Paris in the springtime. I love Paris in the winter when it drizzles. I love Paris in the summer when it sizzles.